To our top story this morning, in hours from now, Afghanistan is going to be having a new government ruled by Taliban. India today has learned that Mullah Baradar, the head of Taliban's political office, will lead the new government in Afghanistan. Baradar is expected to have political power over the governing council, but will operate under Haibatullah Akhundzada, the supreme leader of Taliban. Other names that are doing rounds to key positions include Sirajuddin Haqqani, the deputy leader of Taliban. Sher Mohammad Abbas is tipped to be the new foreign minister of Afghanistan. Meanwhile, as the group readies presidential palace in Kabul for the ceremony, India today has learned that turf war has been simmering between Taliban factions and Haqqani network. The Haqqanis have demanded all crucial home, interior and defense ministries, but Akhundzada has not accepted the demands. Remember, the coronation ceremony was slated to take place on Friday, but has got delayed. The Taliban is expected to announce government formation in Kabul today. There were reports that Presidential Palace was ready for the swearing-in of Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar as the head of the government after the Friday prayers on 3rd September. But late evening information was that the same had been postponed for a day. There are now reports of fissures over control of defense, internal security, religious affairs and justice amongst various factions, especially the Kandhari Taliban and the Haqqani faction of the Taliban. Gaurav Sawant with this news report.
On August 15, these images went viral. Taliban at the presidential palace in Kabul. Taliban commanders took control not just of the presidential palace in Kabul, but different departments and buildings. And then began the process of government formation over several days. On the 17th of August, Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar travelled first to Kandahar and then to Kabul 4 days later on the 21st of August. He had been at the Taliban political office in Doha since 2018 after spending 8 years in a Pakistani prison. Pakistan's ISI had been extremely upset that he had reportedly been trying to carry out independent negotiations with the United States and the leaders in Afghanistan. Mullah Baradar is now tipped to head the Taliban government. It's been over 18 days since Taliban occupied the presidential palace in Kabul and took control of Afghanistan. Almost every day there is news of the Taliban government being formed, but according to sources, information that's filtering out, there are major fissures within the Taliban and there is a major fight for power. Mullah Haibatullah Akhundzada has not been seen for years. He is the spiritual head of Taliban and was expected to lead Friday prayers on the 3rd of September before the announcement of the Taliban government. But that too did not happen. The Taliban released a picture of Mullah Akhundzada on the 30th of August, but it is not clear who all has he met in Kandahar since he arrived. There are reports that Sher Abbas Tanikzai is tipped to be Taliban's foreign minister. But there are reports of fissures between Mullah Yaqub, son of the founder of Taliban, Mullah Muhammad Omar, and Sirajuddin Haqqani over the control of weapons and soldiers. According to intelligence officials, there are fissures over control of various departments and ministries, including justice, religious affairs, and security. The Taliban comprises multiple factions, and when it came to ousting the United States or the Ashraf Ghani government, they were united. But when it comes to power, there are major factional feuds, according to sources in the intelligence agencies, between the Sirajuddin Haqqani faction, influenced by Pakistan, and of course the Kandhari Taliban, represented by Mullah Yaqub, even though he has spent considerable time in Pakistan. But the Kandhari Taliban is not as radicalized or influenced by Pakistan as the Sirajuddin Haqqani faction. Coupled with this is the issue of an inclusive government. What role and powers will leaders in Afghanistan have? Will leaders like former President Hamid Karzai and former Chief Executive Dr. Abdullah be included or wield any real authority? There is also chatter that the Pakistan army is rushing in top commanders and ISI officers to help the Taliban. It is not clear whether this help is with combating the resistance at Panjshir or government formation in Kabul. In Delhi, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
Amidst widespread hunger, a sinking economy and devastating drought, Taliban's leadership is hoping to rely on Chinese funds. Taliban has described China as its most important partner and said it looks forward to Beijing to rebuild Afghanistan and exploit its rich copper deposits. Taliban has said the group supports China's One Belt, One Road initiative that seeks to link China with Africa and Europe, and Beijing is ready to invest in Afghanistan. Taliban spokesperson Zabiullah added that there are rich copper mines in the country and they can be put back into operation with the help of Beijing. Taliban is sitting on minerals worth more than $1 trillion spread across Afghanistan. China has also invested an exorbitant amount of money in One Belt and One Road initiative that goes through Afghanistan. If a deal is struck between them, it's a win-win situation for Beijing and Taliban. Claims and counterclaims continue to come from Panjshir Valley, the last frontier against Taliban, amidst reports of Taliban conquest in the valley. Self-proclaimed president of Afghanistan, Amrullah Saleh, has rubbished claims of Taliban advances, calling them fake news. In an exclusive conversation with India Today, Saleh said the Taliban has not gained any ground in Panjshir, as claimed by some Pakistani news reports. Moreover, Saleh said that he is very much in the Panjshir Valley after reports of him fleeing the country have surfaced.
Being circulated around that I have fled my country, that's absolutely baseless. This is my voice. I am calling you from the Panjshir Valley, from my base. I am with our commanders and with the political leaders. We are managing the situation. Of course, it's a difficult situation. We are under the invasion of the Taliban and the Pakistanis and Al-Qaeda and other terrorist groups. We have held the ground. We have not lost territory. Over the past 4 or 5 days that the Taliban have launched their offensive, they have not been able to have any significant gain. They have suffered casualties. We have suffered casualties too.
The Himanta Biswa Sarma government in Assam has announced that the Rajiv Gandhi Orang National Park is now going to be known as Orang National Park. The development comes after the centre dropped former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi's name from Khel Ratna Award. The CM's office has stated that the decision was taken after taking cognizance of Adivasi and tribe communities' demands in the state.
Rahul Gandhi inspecting a photo exhibit of his father this week. Images that show him reminisce about his times with Rajiv.
What I remember of my tours with my father, what was driving the tour was not just connecting with people. It was actually trying to understand their requirement, their need, and it was about listening to what they were trying to tell him.
But away from this trip down memory lane in the national capital, a campaign to expunge Rajiv Gandhi's name is raging on. What began last month with the dropping of Rajiv's name from India's highest sporting award, the Khel Ratna, has now triggered a chain reaction in different parts of the country. On Wednesday, the Assam cabinet passed a resolution to rename the Rajiv Gandhi National Park, a tiger reserve, as Orang National Park. Taking cognizance of the Adivasi and T tribe communities' demands, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma directed the renaming, one that has expectedly sparked an emotive crossfire.
Minority Muslim community. Jehetu etu Orang ba ei shobdotu Adivasi aru janogostiyo asa janogostiyo hokolor karone honmanjonok ba tekhetlokor sentiment jorito hoi ase tekhetlokor আহ্বানৰ প্ৰতি অনুৰোধৰ প্ৰতি সন্মান জনাই আজিৰ কেবিনেটে সিদ্ধান্ত ল'লে যে যিখন অভয়াৰণ্য ৰাজীৱ গান্ধী অভয়াৰণ্য নামে নামাঙ্কিত সেইখন আজিৰ পৰা ওৰাং অভয়াৰণ্য নামেৰে নামাঙ্কিত হ'ব।
It is nothing, just a farce. We condemn the attitude of the BJP-led Assam government. They have to tries to the writings of the wall. Time will reply everything. Remember, BJP government.
Meanwhile, in Karnataka, BJP MP Pratap Simha from Mysore Kodagu has written to Karnataka Chief Minister requesting that the Rajiv Gandhi National Park and Tiger Reserve there be renamed Field Marshal K.M. Kariyappa National Park and Tiger Reserve in honor of the legendary Army Commander-in-Chief and Field Marshal from the state. In his letter, Simha says that there has been an attempt by the Congress to wrongfully appropriate the inheritance of projects of the governments of India aimed at biodiversity conservation. The Congress has refused to take the proposal lying down.
It is a routine practice. They want to remove Rajiv Gandhi, Indira Gandhi legacy. They want to make it their own party people. Then at that time, when freedom time, how many people as RSS and BJP people who have fought for the freedom?
Rahul Gandhi, who has spent this week with hundreds of pictures of his father's journey, hasn't reacted to the twin moves yet, but this must feel personal. With Assam biting the bullet and Karnataka appearing to go the same way, has a war been declared on the hundreds of institutions and establishments and awards that continue to carry the Nehru-Gandhi name? With Nagarjun Dwarakanath in Mysuru, Bureau Report, India Today.
3 days after Hurricane Ida made landfall in Louisiana, its remnants continue to tear into the east coast of the U.S. Over 50 people are dead. What has stunned the world now is how the New York City has been hit. The city, despite advance warnings, was not prepared for the hurricane aftermath. Here's a report.
Vehicles inundated. Subway flooded. Flights grounded. People stranded. These visuals of devastation are from one of the biggest metropolitan cities in the world, the New York City. Hurricane Ida, the deadliest storm since the catastrophic Katrina, which claimed 1,800 lives in 2005, has brought the eastern coast down on its knees.
I've been here more than 20 years and never seen the park like this. All flooded up everywhere. Bethesda Fountain never been flooded up like that. You've seen a lot of trees falling down. Like, this is pretty crazy.
The Big Apple has suffered the worst of destruction.
I've lived in New York for 40 some odd years, and obviously things are changing. So, and I love South Lake Tahoe, and we're seeing that burn down right now too. So the whole West is in big trouble with.
Mayor Bill de Blasio had earlier declared a state of emergency in the New York City.
What we've got to recognize is the suddenness, the brutality of storms now. It is different. This is the biggest wake-up call we could possibly get.
As the remnants of Ida continue to wreak havoc, the natural calamity has drawn attention to the climate crisis. President Joe Biden is scheduled to travel to Louisiana, where over 1 million people went without power.
We need to be much better prepared. We need to act. When Congress returns this month, I'm going to press for their action on my Build Back Better plan. That's going to make historic investments in electrical infrastructure, modernizing our roads, bridges, our water systems, sewer and drainage systems.
As the East Coast slowly gets back to business, they are wondering what went wrong. How could the USA, with one of the world's best weather warning system, go so horribly wrong in its preparations for Hurricane Ida? The country which was so far in denial is now also waking up to the perils of climate change. Bureau Report, India Today.
India staged a fight back with a bat in their second and were 43 for no loss in the second innings with 56 runs behind England. Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul survived the 1 hour they had to bat in the last session. On the second day, at stumps, Rohit was batting on 20 while Rahul was not out on 22. India, remember, were bowled out for 191 in the first innings. Earlier, England got into a 99-run lead despite being reduced to 62 for 5 at one stage. Ollie Pope and Chris Woakes struck half a century each to help England post 290 in the first innings. Another good day at the office for India at Paralympics, and our correspondent Nitin Srivastava caught up with silver medalist Praveen Kumar. Listen into what Praveen, who won India's 4th silver medal at the Paralympics, had to say.
प्रवीण भाई, बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं आपको और आपके मेडल के लिए। एशिया रिकॉर्ड के साथ आपने ये मेडल हासिल किया है। थोड़ी प्रिपरेशन के बारे में बताइए कि किस तरीके से प्लान आउट किया था ये टूर्नामेंट, और स्पेशली जब आप टोक्यो पहुंचे वहां पे क्या माइंडसेट था, किस तरीके की आपको तैयारियां आपने करी, और आज के इवेंट में किस तरीके से आपने अपनी जो परफॉर्मेंस करी उसके पीछे का राज क्या है? क्या लगता है आपको कि कौन सी ऐसी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज थी जिसने आपको ये मेडल दिलाया?
जी, इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग्स तो सर ब्लेसिंग्स थी, जो दुआएं थी मेरी कंट्री से, जो मेरी दुआएं थी सर, वो आज वो रंग लाई हैं सर, जिससे सिल्वर मेडल जीता है सर। और प्रिपरेशन तो सर जब मैं टोक्यो में आया था मेरे को बस इतना ही था कि अपना बेस्ट देना है, और वही मैंने आज किया, अपना बेस्ट दिया।
प्रवीण, हर एथलीट के करियर में, स्पोर्टिंग करियर में कुछ न कुछ स्ट्रगल होता है। आपके भी स्पोर्टिंग करियर में कई सारे अप्स एंड डाउन्स आए थे। जर्नी कैसी रही जब आपने अपने स्पोर्टिंग डिसिप्लिन की शुरुआत की थी, वहां से लेकर अब पैरालंपिक्स का ये मेडल, ये जर्नी कैसे रही, उसके बारे में थोड़ा बताइए।
सर जर्नी तो मैंने स्टार्ट की थी अपने स्कूल से, स्टार्ट की थी प्रज्ञान पब्लिक स्कूल से, जिसमें मैं पहले वॉलीबॉल खेलता था। फिर उसके बाद मैंने हाई जंप स्पोर्ट डे से स्टार्ट किया था। स्पोर्ट्स डे में मैंने स्कूल में ही फर्स्ट टाइम पार्टिसिपेट किया था। उसके बाद मैं क्लस्टर खेलने गया सीबीएसई नॉर्मल्स में, एबल बॉडीज में, और फिर नेशनल भी खेलने गया। मेरा नेशनल से गोल्ड है सीबीएसई नेशनल में, एबल में। और फिर 2017 में मुझे पता चला था कि पैरा ओलंपिक भी होता है, क्योंकि 2016 में मैंने मेडल्स देखे थे, तो मैंने भी सोचा कि जब ये कर सकते हैं तो यार तू भी कर सकता है।
बिल्कुल। और अगर आप प्रवीण बात की जाए तैयारियों की, तो कोविड की वजह से थोड़ा सा जो है चीजें पॉज पे चली गई थी। उस दौरान आपने कैसे अपनी ट्रेनिंग को जारी रखा, कैसे करते थे ट्रेनिंग, थोड़ा उसके बारे में बताइए। कि आपको लगता था कि उस वक्त की थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम है कि हमें प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग अभी नहीं मिल पा रही है कोविड की वजह से, और कहीं ना कहीं वो चीजें हमें ओवरकम करनी है ताकि हमें परफॉर्मेंस जब ओलंपिक हो, पैरालंपिक हो, तो हमें मेडल तक पहुंचा पाए?
हाँ सर, जब अभी ओलंपिक क्वालिफाई राउंड हुए थे अभी 2 मंथ्स पहले, तो जब मुझे कोविड हो गया था। मैं कोविड के बाद निकल के आया था, मेरी मसल्स टोन पूरा खत्म हो गया था, मसल्स में पावर नहीं थी। तो अपने पास 15-20 दिन थे ओलंपिक क्वालिफाई के लिए, क्योंकि ट्रायल था, ओलंपिक ट्रायल था 15-20 दिन बाद ही। तो हमने ज्यादा फोकस बस अपने एक्सप्लोजी को बढ़ाने के लिए और फिटनेस पे ज्यादा ध्यान दिया, जिससे हम पावर बस इसी चीज को कर पाते 15-20 दिनों में। टेक्निक में कुछ ज्यादा इम्प्रूवमेंट कुछ नहीं कर सकते थे। तो हमने प्लानिंग की, थोड़ा 15-20 दिन का वर्कआउट जो हमारा सही हो गया, जिससे हमने अपना बेस्ट कर दिया था। 2:05 ही कर दिया था उसमें भी, ओलंपिक ट्रायल में भी। तो सर थोड़ी तो कोविड की वजह से थोड़ी प्रॉब्लम थी, लेकिन जो भी हुआ सब ठीक हुआ। फाइनली वी गॉट द सिल्वर मेडल।